you remember what I said, roughly?
Hey, everyone, it's me, your boy Chris Hansen.
Yo, get down. Get down. Get down. It's your crime clown.
I always wanted to know why Chris Hansen barely reacted when this dude punched this cabinet with this space. So I asked him. You'll hear his answer, why I don't really believe him, and what this guy's been up to since he's been arrested.
That's 37-year-old Kazuo Akutsu knocking on our door.
I present this unsung zero arrested in Ocean County, New Jersey, and introduced to the world on July 25th, 2007. The decoy's name was Sandy. Cass promised candy, but then he got woozy and forgot how to standy.
Oh, I'm hurt. Oh, my neck, my back, my neck and my back.
Let's talk about Kazuo Akutsu and find out what happened to this guy after To Catch a Predator.
Hey, I'm glad you made it.
Yeah, I know.
37-year-old Kazuo Akutsu was living in Queens, New York and employed by a large department store. A simple life, but fame had bigger things in store for him. To get in front of the world's largest stage and to forever cement himself in To Catch a Predator lore, he started chatting with a decoy posing as a 14-year-old girl, Sandy.
He's been chatting online for more than a week with a decoy posing as a 14-year-old.
In a chat that lasted just 11 days before his arrest, Kaz knew from the very first message he was chatting with the child. Now, he did say he wished she was older, but that didn't stop him from expressing his desire to be physical in public. When she asked about kissing, he made it clear he had a bit something different in mind.
Using the screen name Kaz4541, he asks the girl about having sex on the beach, then says he's not into that. He wants a nice, comfortable bed.
Kaz played emotional games, mansplained what it would be like for Sandy to lose her virginity, and tried to make her jealous by asking about her cuter female friends and admitting to talking to other minors online. He even came up with a proposed sex schedule for the number of times he expected to be physical once they were in an actual relationship. Kaz wasn't just full of sexual desires, he was also full of suspicions, revealing a friend of his had recently served jury duty for a case involving an internet predator, so he was 100% aware of predator stings and their possible repercussions. But once again, FOMO Dick was unwilling to be silenced. On March 30th, 2007, the 37-year-old would cross state lines and make the drive to the Dateline Sting House to keep his date with Destiny. Sandy was promised candy, but you'll notice he is empty-handed. It didn't matter. Casey made snacks.
Do you want some brownies?
Not for now.
Did you dose them?
What?
Did you dose them?
No.
In hindsight, he should have just eaten the brownies, because at least then, he could have claimed he was drugged after he crashes to the floor like a marionette puppet that had its strings cut.
He smelled like he was smoking in the car beforehand and hasn't showered in a couple of days.
Which pain do you think was worse? The momentary pain of smashing your head into a wooden bar while cameras roll and Chris just stands there? Or the everlasting pain of forever being known as one of the smellier predators on TCAP? I assume most of these dudes stunk. Shit, this dude was literally dead.
Ain't a woman in this world give me a I'm past that stage now.
But to get singled out as the smelly predator is a whole new level of suck. The exchange between Casey and Kaz was over in seconds. Right away, Chris wants to know what Kaz is doing here, but also, where are those chocolates?
So explain again why no chocolates?
I just didn't bring it.
You didn't bring it?
No.
So what's your plan here today?
Well, I was going to just see her.
He admits her is a 14-year-old girl named Sandy who he met online. He says he's 37 and works for a major department store in New York City.
When Chris asked Kaz what makes it appropriate to show up at the house of a 14-year-old girl home alone, Kaz is at a complete loss for words.
So you just decided today after work that you're going to
jump in the car to meet a 14-year-old girl named Sandy.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
You thought it was appropriate at the age of 37 to come meet a 14-year-old. Why? Explain that to me.
I didn't think it was appropriate.
Your chat was pretty darn explicit with her.
He does look pretty casual sitting there, though. Kind of bored. Kaz is clearly getting flustered, and it's hard to tell if he wants sympathy or if this is real, but it's only going to get worse from here.
And you acknowledge in the chat that the age thing could be a problem. Sandy, I am more than twice your age.
Mm-hmm. I know what I did. What am I going to do now?
Then Kaz4541 says he's feeling ill.
The previously casual Kaz is about to break, and Chris knows a good TV moment when he sees one. He is not about to let off the gas.
You talk about her having a hard time enjoying sex because she's a virgin, and then it might hurt.
Please go back.
You can go if you'd like to, but I think I need to tell you something first.
When Kaz asks if he can leave because he isn't feeling well, Chris delivers two of his greatest hits. There's hit number one, the Dateline drop.
And that's I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on adults who try to meet kids online for sex. Now, if there's anything else you want to say, we'd like to hear it. If not, you can obviously walk out the door you came in.
And of course, hit number two, this Predator drops.
You got knocked the out, man!
Kaz4541 would deliver an instantly iconic performance in the role of Predator smashing his head, yet in 2023, even the most ardent of TCAP fans would have a hard time recalling his name, let alone have any idea what happened to him after the camera stopped rolling.
We call for an EMT who comes in and examines him. It turns out to be nothing serious.
Yeah, he's clammy. He's definitely... Come on, let's get up to your feet. Let's hear it. All right?
He's escorted out of the house and is later arrested.
Let me know what you think. Was this done for sympathy, or was it a legitimate fall? The only person who knows for sure is Kazoo, but that didn't stop the police from voicing their opinion on the matter.
Lieutenant Neville says he recovered pretty quickly.
Brought him back to the police department, had a medic at the police department that monitored his blood pressure and heart rate and pulse, and pretty much was cleared to go back to the jail.
He didn't want to say it outright, but they just wanted this guy to stop bullshitting so he could go to jail. I asked Chris Hansen what was going through his mind when Kaz fell and why he barely reacted, and this is what he had to say.
I remember the color draining out of his face and him looking woozy. It didn't look like he had hit his head very hard, and I don't recall him being cut or bleeding. I knew paramedics were nearby, so I wasn't too concerned.
And I think it might be more than just that. I have to imagine that after reading these chat logs and dealing with enough of these predators over the course of the show, it would be pretty satisfying to see one of them one-punch themselves off of something bought at Pier 1 Imports. Okay, this is gonna sound like a nitpick, but trust me, this is going somewhere, and it's a connection I never heard made before. The show got it wrong earlier when they said Kaz was 37 years old. When he showed up at the Sting House to meet the decoy, yes, he was in fact 36. It was March 30th, 2007, and he was officially booked early in the morning on March 31st. Just one day later, on April 1st, Kaz would turn 37 years old, and he was hoping to celebrate his birthday by committing illegal acts with a minor.
He also has a birthday wish: sex with a decoy.
Yes, his birthday is April Fool's, and the show didn't bother to mention it or take advantage of it when scheduling his date. The trolling possibilities would have been endless. Had he waited just 24 hours to show up to the Sting House, Kaz and Bowling Green Predator Lorne Armstrong would have shared the dubious distinction of being the only two predators arrested on their 37th birthday at a TCAP sting house.
Turns out today's his birthday. He's 37-year-old Lorne Armstrong, a construction worker.
Remember that in case you're ever on Jeopardy and that question comes up. Despite not being a previously registered sex offender, Kaz 4541 was handed one of the harshest sentences in the New Jersey sting.
Later, he goes before a judge and his bail is set.
Your bail is set at $50,000 with no 10% eligibility.
To add insult to injury, he would also be facing deportation as part of his punishment. Unable to come up with bail, Kaz sat in jail for almost a full year before his case was heard. On February 1st, 2008, Kazuo Kutsu became the first individual to plead guilty from the New Jersey stings and was handed a Megan's Law sentence, which stipulated lifetime parole supervision and possible deportation upon completion of his sentence. He was given 3 years in prison and a credit of 308 days for the time he spent in jail awaiting trial. I know that doesn't seem like much, but considering Malik Washington also crossed state lines yet received no prison time, this was better than nothing. Kaz was released from prison on August 29, 2008 after 516 total days in custody. So what happened after his release? Well, Kaz was not deported and is in fact now married and still residing in New York. He is apparently a level 1 offender, just like Malik Washington and Eugene Daly, because his registry information does not appear on the Megan's Law offender listings. From start to finish, Kaz's segment on To Catch a Predator is less than 4 minutes long. I firmly believe that if not for his failed rear naked chokehold on that bar stool, we would not be discussing Kazuo Kutsu in 2023, because his segment would have been cut, because it would have been boring. Chris disagrees, saying,
I think his segment would have aired either way.
But I'm not so sure. Other than a blog response I found in 2010 where Kaz goes on and on about the stupidity, uselessness, and racism of Americans, he seems to be keeping a low profile. Just not as low as that Pete Rose headfirst slide into home face and into TCAP lore. He did manage to get married though. In recent years, when images of Kaz and his bride began to circulate on the website The Temple of TCAP, Kaz, or one of his family members, allegedly threatened to have the site pulled for harassment. The pictures were quickly deleted from the temple, but of course will remain online forever as a constant reminder of a monster who lived in plain sight until his perversions, bad choices, and To Catch a Predator exposed him to the entire world. On our next episode, I'm gonna go back to the New Jersey shore to take a deeper dive into the Dwayne Chisholm, aka Loverman Genius.
Calling himself Loverman Genius, he spells genius incorrectly.
But for now, this ends the story of Kaz 4541. From the birthday April Fools to falling face first into a stool. From an attempted abuse of power to forgetting to take a shower. Here's to you, Kazuo Kutsu, just one of To Catch a Predator's unsung zeros. Any questions?
So, when do I get to see myself on TV?
Were you really not listening? I just said next time.
These guys ain't no heroes. They suck. Unsung zeros. Unsung zeros. Unsung zeros. These guys are the worst.
Fuck you, Clobber.
I love it.